Well, there's a discontinuity in the subsoil, subbase. It changes once you go inside that perimeter, which indicates it's been disturbed differently than the rest of it. And then inside that perimeter, there are some weak and strong reflections, which are very close to the same dielectric constants. In other words, it's different, but it's set in there long enough that the salts and stuff from the soils are starting to migrate into whatever it is, and is creating it some strong and weak reflectors.
So in other words, what you're saying is that the soil is starting to absorb whatever is there.
Whatever they're starting to absorb the chemicals of the soil.
Okay.
This is all different right in here. It starts at 2 foot, actually 1.93 feet to 2 feet from the top of this surface. And it goes down to the top of where this anomaly is showing up. And then through the bottom of the anomaly, we're back into the soil conditions again at 3 feet. So there's a layer of approximately 12 inches.
Okay. Rick, I have a couple of questions for you. Have you and I ever met before today?
No.
Okay. And I contacted you independently myself to come and scan this spot that obviously somebody else had scanned for me previously.
Yes.
Are you coming up with almost the same markings that the first person did?
Similar. I don't pick up the furthest one out where he starts. I pick it up a foot or so this back towards us. But the rest of the area, his marks are inside my marks.
And can you tell the camera your name and spell your first and last name?
Rick Norland, R-I-C-K-N-O-R-L-A-N-D.
And your business?
I'm the president and co-owner of Construction Solutions.
Do you have a problem? I'm going to turn this over to the police like we talked about. And you have no problem with the police department contacting you about the findings that you have, or the Greene County Prosecutor's Office? And you say you do grade markers. What is your data telling you, indicating that it may be?
It's very similar to what we see when we're over old grades. The other anomaly that can show up sometimes similar to that's tree roots, but I don't see any trees anywhere close.
And you're not picking it up anywhere else?
I'm not picking it up anywhere else but inside this perimeter area. Once I step outside the perimeter area, I see the slab, the Mary came up with the slab, the subsoil, the gravel. But in this area, it's different.
Are you able to tell if it's just, you said you're able to do grade markings, so you obviously know what bones look like or what they may look like?
Actually, when we're looking, especially older grades, what we see over time, the bones will absorb the local salts from the soils. And as they do, they begin to take on the same characteristics of the soil. And radar has a hard time picking a difference between the surrounding soil and whatever it may be thinking is down it. But when we do old grades, the other thing we really rely on heavily is we see a discontinuity in the local soils around that area. And we usually plot out this similar type thing. That's usually the first giveaway when you're on old burials, is you see a change. And then inside that area, you'll pick up at different elevations, smaller and larger reflective targets. Some are weak and some are strong, and it depends a lot of times on how much of the soils, the salts of the soils, and the chemistry of the soils have been absorbed. So it's all depending on how wet the soil's been for how long the bones have been in contact with the soil. It's a lot of variables.
So when you say old grades, can you give me range when you say old, like?
The oldest ones we've done were in the same area with, and that had some missing headstones of people that were buried in the 1740s to the 1790s. And
you had blood locating graves.
Yes.
And what is this? How old do you think? Can you tell by your?
No.
Okay.
I can just say that there's been enough time in there that the reflectors are starting in places to get similar to the soil. So it's not recent.
So we need to get up and find out what's underneath there?
Whatever is that, if that's what the speculation is, it's absorbing, or it appears to be absorbing, the characteristics of the soil around it.
And if you wait longer and longer and longer, what happens then?
As far as radar goes, it gets harder and harder to see the bones, if that's what they are. Or it could be wood that's soaking up the salts as well, okay? The changes in the soil conditions won't change. You can come back many years later and you'll still see that same transition as you go through.
I have a couple other questions for you. In these spots right here that you marked, would they be able to be cored out, or will this whole area here need to be dug?
You could do, I think, if it was a fairly large core, you could probably do a 2-foot, 20-inch diameter and get enough area around that you would hit that anomaly that we're seeing.
Okay. And how long?
Especially right over there.
Can you show me where?
Right over in this area, right here. Right in here.
Okay. And does it look like there's something together, or maybe it's on top of each other, or can you tell? Or
it comes in and goes out. There could be two distinct at either end of this, although the center's a little stronger. And then this area is definitely away from that area. It's more concentrated right in here.
okay.
It is a lot harder. This one's harder to see. This area there's a pretty good reflector right in here, not as strong as over there. But the soil changes occur at the perimeter.
Are you able to tell how big the things are that are under there that we're looking at? Maybe 6 feet, 4 feet.
Inside this area, over the strongest parts, it's about 2 foot wide by 4.5, 5 feet long that I'm seeing. But the soil changes go out further than that. So that area is about 7 feet long, 7 and 7 and a half.
Well, I sure thank you. You don't know how much.
You're welcome.